Thank you so much. We've had an outstanding day. We are so blessed and honored to have as our next speaker, Angela Hooper-Menifield. Do all of you have a handout? They were passed around. She is the president and owner of Menifield and Associates LLC, where the mission is leadership at every level for every sector, as they help raise the leadership lids of organizations to help people get unstuck. Anybody ever felt stuck? Well, her organization's helping you get unstuck. In addition to being executive director with the John Maxwell team, which certifies her as a teacher, speaker, and coach, Angela holds a master's degree in public administration and also two human resource certifications as a senior professional and is a certified DISC human behavior consultant with personality insights out of Atlanta, Georgia. Angela's present and past clients include Rutgers University, the University of Missouri, Columbia College, the federal government, Chick-fil-A, the City of Columbia, Missouri, True Media, and other nonprofits and small business owners and entrepreneurs. She is well-traveled and well-connected, as you will soon find out. Angela and her husband, Dr. Charles Menifield, have two daughters, Tiffany and Amber, two grandsons, DeAndre and Jameson. And today, she's going to be talking to us. You have a handout to DISC with Love. Please help me welcome Angela Hooper-Menifield.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Rome. Thank you, everyone, for staying. I know sometimes for the last speaker in an event, the room tends to get empty. But you all stayed, so I thank you for that. I just want to say, for all the other speakers we've had today, we have seen today some of the best up-and-coming speakers, I think, that exist right now in the U.S. Would you not agree with me? Yeah. Let's give each other a hand. I also want to encourage all of you in the audience to follow these speakers, get on their Facebook pages, follow them on Twitter, Instagram, however they use, and find out where they're speaking next, because these are the type of people you want to follow. Now, as I start my presentation, I'm going to ask you this question. Have you ever heard the saying, be the change you want to be in the world? Has anybody ever heard that? Yeah. Okay. What if I told you that's not the actual quote? The quote that Gandhi made was actually this: if we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own nature, so does the attitude of the world towards him. We need not wait to see what others do. Now, the key phrase of that quote that really resonates with me is, the tendencies in the world will also change, and we need not wait to see what others do. So why do you think it's important that I say this to you? Everyone in this room is equipped with talent, skills, and abilities. Most of us have a great understanding of DISC. What are we doing with that information? Let's look at our times right now. What do we see when we turn on the news? Protest, angry bickering. We're arguing about everything right now. I mean, the world has gotten to the point that when an athlete changes teams, people burn their jerseys. I mean, is this not crazy to you as well? I would assert that we can use love with our knowledge of DISC, our higher level of awareness, and be the change that we want to see in the world. Now, when we talk about love, how many of us have said, I don't feel loved right now? Anybody other than me? Well, here's the other thing. As my awareness grew, I came to the realization, why do I have to feel loved? I am loved. That would be like me saying, I don't feel like a woman. Because I am a woman. I'm telling you, I am a woman. It would be like me saying, I don't feel that I'm African American or black. I am that. Why do I have to feel that? I am that. We are love. God is love. If we were created in his image, aren't we love? So when we talk about love with DISC, I want you to participate with me. I love interactive audiences. And we also know that we need that energy at the end of the day. So how do we spell love? L-O-V-E. The first letter L. This is for your handouts. Listening. How does it feel to be listened to? Great. We had a wonderful presentation this morning from Sherry, and she talked about being present and connecting with people. It was one of the best presentations I've heard on connection. Thank you so much for that. But when we listen to people, they feel better. Did you know there are 5 levels of listening? Did everybody know that? So we're going to talk about them. The first level of listening is ignoring. That's the lowest level of listening we can do. How does it feel to be ignored? There are different ways we ignore people. One way would be to just, if one of you right now were to literally just turn your back to me, start talking on the telephone, doing something else. But the most common way we ignore each other is when we interrupt. I could begin to say something and immediately Roz just say, oh, but I was thinking, well, she's ignoring me. She's ignored the fact that I was about to say something. That's the lowest level of listening. The second level of listening is pretend listening. We've all seen that, right? You know, someone comes up to you and they start talking to you and you're at your desk and you're typing on your keyboard and you say, yeah, Or you're talking on the phone, but you're really watching TV. And the person on the other line eventually says, are you doing something else? And you have to confess that you were pretend listening. My favorite example of pretend listening, I say good morning to a person, they say good morning back. They ask me how I'm doing. My reply is, oh, not too great. I really didn't sleep well last night. They say, oh, yeah, that's great. They were pretend listening. They didn't hear what I said. That's the second level of listening. The third level of listening is selective listening. Has anyone been accused of doing that? Selective listening is when we listen as long as the person is saying things that we want to hear. The moment they start talking about things we don't want to hear, we tune them out. Think about it as a parent, for those of you who, well, I can even say as a child, because we probably did the same thing to our parents. We're listening until they start talking to us about our dirty room, our chores, and all of a sudden we start tuning them out. I've accused my husband of selective listening on occasion, and I'm sure he said the same thing about me. So selective listening is when we listen as long as we're hearing what we want to hear. The fourth level of listening, attentive listening. Now, attentive listening means I actually hear you. I'm listening to you. And I would assert that is probably what most of you are doing with me right now. You're listening to me. I see you taking notes. But the other thing that you're doing is you're evaluating what I'm saying. You're making a conscious decision as to whether or not you agree or disagree with what it is I'm saying. You're evaluating it. In the event I were to ask you a question, you would pose your answer through your filter based on your beliefs and how you feel. That is attentive listening. The last, and number 5, is emphatic listening, or what some people call empathetic listening. This is the highest level of listening that we can offer a person. When we are empathetic in our listening, we actually see the world through the eyes of the person that is talking to us. We suspend all judgment. We forget what it is that we're thinking about, what's happening in our lives. What we do is we see the world through their lens. This is the hardest and most difficult way to listen to people because it takes patience, it takes time, it takes discipline. But we can do it. So those are the 5 levels of listening. So when you listen to people, I want you to ask yourself a question. What is my focus? What is it I'm trying to accomplish? That will help you filter through your listening levels. You won't arrive from 1 to 5 overnight, but you can get there. So that's what I'm talking about when I say we can use DISC to listen. Because now that we understand Listen to what people say and hear it in the tone and in their style, if that makes sense to you in the room. So that's L. What's our second letter? O. O is for observe. The definition of the word observe means to give attention to, discern, dissect. It also means that we are really just giving it our attention. But what about observe in another way? How do we observe holidays? We celebrate them. So can you celebrate the differences in people? Can you celebrate them in the style that they choose and desire to be celebrated in? Because we often find ourselves being guilty of wanting to celebrate and do for people in our own style. But if I know you're an I, the way I would celebrate you, Arthur, would be different than the way I would celebrate Charles. So we celebrate one another. When we celebrate each other, we feel good. Who's ever had a celebration in their honor? How did it feel? Okay, so 2 things already. People said if you listen to me, I feel good. If you celebrate me, I feel good. What's the third letter? V. V is for validate. When you validate a person, their feelings, their opinions, what you say to them is, you're worthy. I hear you. I'm trying to seek to understand you. Now, one of the misunderstandings that I've had through the years when I've done training on communications is that some people misconstrue validation with agree. That is not the case. When you validate a person, it doesn't mean that you agree with them. It means that you hear them, you're listening to them, you're saying how you feel, what you think. Your opinions matter. We can agree to disagree, but it doesn't take anything away from the fact that how you feel is important. One of the techniques that I use when I validate people is I ask them questions like, or I make statements like, tell me more about that. They can say something I think is the craziest thing in the world. Tell me more about that. What does that statement do for them? It frees them. It lets them know I'm interested in what they're saying and I think it has value. When they're finished, I don't have to agree with it, but I gave them a platform, I gave them a floor, and I sought opportunity to find something that we could potentially agree on. So the third letter, V, was for validate. What's the last letter in the word love? E. E is for equip. When we equip people, we empower them. We give them what is needed in that moment. So think about us in this room. We all, again, have talents, gifts, knowledge. I've heard some of the best presentations I've heard in a long time. What are we doing with those gifts, that knowledge, those abilities? Are we equipping people? Are we adding value to people? Because you see, I believe you can do only one or two things. You can either add value or take it away. So which are you doing? Are you equipping people? Are they better from having known you? Been in your presence, heard one of your presentations, or learned about themselves through DISC. So we need to equip them. We can't just give them the reports and say, this is you, bye. We have to equip them. So I am here to tell you that DISC is one of the most remarkable, valuable tools I've ever experienced in my life. But I am high C in my environment, so I need some takeaways. What can I do? These are things we can do. We can listen, observe, validate, and equip. Each and every one of you could start doing that right now. I'll leave you with this. John Maxwell is known for saying, once you've tasted significance, success will never be enough for you. He also says, one is too small a number for greatness. I'm on a journey. I'm trying to grow, I'm trying to get better, but as I do that, I'm trying to equip and empower other people as I add value to them. I invite each and every one of you to join me on this journey to greatness and significance. I'll be here for the rest of the day for pictures, autographs, book signings. But again, I implore you to use love in everything that you do. Thank you very much.
All right. So this was so good that I didn't write as many notes on your sheet as I did on the sheet you just gave me, which I loved. That whole thing about listening in closed caption means I actually have to listen because I'm, and I really do, I care and I want the people who are talking, especially if it's a sister, one of my sisters or friends who are telling me something. I don't really like a lot of drama, so I don't want to hear that kind of stuff. But if it's something going on in their life, something we're going to celebrate, something good, I like the details, which means I have to listen. But I don't even think in terms of the fact that, my gosh, I need to be really careful if I'm talking to somebody and they're pretend listening. Or, you know what I'm saying? Because I really do want to work on this. But I love the L.O.V.E. I mean, we all got it. Like, just simple words, those 4 words, it stuck. You were fun to listen to. You've got just a presence and the way you talk, I don't know. It's just, there's something about your voice. It needs to be heard too. So I'm very impressed between yesterday's and today's, these two different feelings that came out of them. I enjoyed both. Yes.
Angela, you speak with authority.
That's what
Not
it
everybody
is.
does.
That's what it is.
They asked Jesus, "Where'd you get your authority?" He wasn't walking around beating people up, and they said, "Because you don't speak like the scribes and the Pharisees." What does that mean? They were just poly-parroting everything their teachers had told them. They said, "You speak with authority." Here's what that means: you act like you know what you're talking about. That's you. You speak with confidence. The word confidence comes from 2 Latin words, confide. It means with faith. So you speak with a lot of that. It's powerful. We've got about 20 things going on, and it's okay. It's all right, not a problem. We focus right here. Focus in the moment. I love your confidence. I love with faith. That's what you're all about. I want to be that kind of person. I want to speak like I know what I'm talking about. Not because I want to be better than anybody. I just have something to say. Remember the 4 key words of a great speaker? Have something to say. You do. Yesterday was fun. Today was educational. Yep. You are an edutainer. Everybody here needs to seek to be an educator. I'm proud of you. I'm glad you're associated with us. Good job.
I think it was the best. Oh, microphone.
Oh, sorry.
I think it was the best challenge of the day and the best closing of the day. So, I mean, what a way to close out this whole thing with this challenge. And it was, the simple things in life are the best things in life. And it's all about love. I mean, DISC means nothing without love. You know, your companies, the places you work, and the things you do mean nothing without love. You know, it's just a sounding, brass, tinkling cymbal, or whatever Corinthians says. But you got to have love, and you put it down into breaking it down. You know, as a not an anagram, but what is that word? My brain's about gone today. Acronym. So this is a keeper for me, so thanks for the handout. What is your third personality trait? You've got SC here on the chart. D, is it really? So your I is below the midline. Yeah, because you know, you go to, under stress, you go to your second or third trait. And I thought, oh, under stress, she becomes an I. You were like up there, fun, smiling, happy, you know, friendly face. So that's great that you're able to be what you need to be according to, because yesterday you weren't an I. You know, you were more of an SC yesterday. An SC. Yeah, she showed me SC yesterday. But today she's, you know, her I's not too low. Yeah, you're pretty close to midline with your D and I. Now I get it. So, but anyway, good time. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, what did we talk about just before you got up to speak? And what did I say?
You let me know if I was too loud.
No, and what did I say before all that? Relative to what you just said?
To use my voice.
Yes. Now, how do you think you did?
I think I did okay.
I think it'd be impossible to have used it better because you have a natural voice that projects. You used inflection absolutely perfectly in the projection. Everybody's got a different voice. Remember, I checked everybody's voice, having them count. I look at the faces, I study the lips, everything, eyebrows, everything. Well, you did it 100% perfectly, and that's why people like Rachel said, you know, there's something about your voice, I don't know what it is, and that's what captures everybody. Mastered the subject. When you came in here, it was like a ballet. Just like a ballet. It was so nice. And I think you had trouble the first night, didn't you?
Goodness, yes.
And you went to the opposite extreme. You went to the opposite. Just complete opposite. It's
Remember what I
probably.
told you yesterday, right?
What's that?
You remember what I told you about
What was it?
yesterday, right? I don't like to make the same mistake twice.
Okay, well, there you go, yeah. No, it was real good. So, you crossed the line of death.
Yeah.
You crossed the line of death and learned to perform another day. You engaged the audience perfectly, too. Now, the last level for you to have greatness, and this you must do. You must do this. You've got to never look down.
Okay.
You did it a few times. And there's a point where nobody's going to notice, but yours it was noticeable.
Okay.
You did it maybe half a dozen times or so. For you, you want to reach that great, so that nobody subconsciously is going to think, oh, there's a shy tendency there or whatever. Eliminate that, and you're all the way up there. If you want to tweak something, just drop an arm occasionally to show you're ultra relaxed, because instead of always having your arms here as you speak, microphone, hands, okay? Look at the difference between me talking now and me talking now. You see the difference?
Right.
This is just dragging and laying because I'm fully relaxed. That's a real minor thing. The other thing, eliminate, and you're right up there. I wouldn't know what to correct after that,
Okay.
honestly. You do those two things, and I wouldn't know what to correct. Especially, don't look down. But it was some of the things you were doing, especially the way you're walking around here, it was like, hope everybody's noticing that. Because you went from one extreme to the other. Well, I think I even told you, sometimes I have to take people like they're playing golf with the swing. Was it you I said that to? Sometimes you have to get behind? Yeah, because it was like I didn't know I might have to do that. It was so, wasn't that good? But today, that's the way you do it. So you watch what you did again and listen to how you spoke, and that was really, really, really good. So there are a few of you. You were one that, and yourself, that were just, they just got one little correction. You in education, just almost nothing to correct. So that's the level you want to be at. You reached that level too. Everybody was like way, way, way up. You did too. In fact, you two were the most improved of all. Took the hugest leaps, the two of you. There's a progress. So anyway, that was good. You watch what you did and repeat that when you do. And remember what she did when she pasted, if you get a copy of that, if you're willing to share it, and how she pasted in here. That's how you do that. Because you didn't get to exercise that fully. That was one of the few things. And Roz just had to slow down. Watch the way she did it. That's how you really enjoyed it. It was good.
All right, let's give them a big hand. You all are incredible.
They're impressive.
Thank you so much for your participation. Anything, we're not rushing you out, we just, so some of you need to go. If you need to
You
go,
took a huge jump from the midline.
Sherry's
You were
car
feeling like
is right
you weren't
outside the
you
door.
weren't as bad
You're
as the other
riding with
two.
Sherry, we'll help you load
Big
up.
improvement. You came from the midline.